Alright, it is 9:26 a.m. Monday, August the 23rd, and I guess a bunch of morning panic bounce play potentials. LTNC could be maybe its third day. Technically, it's on its second day if we don't count any price action today, so it could be a morning panic bounce play. It's just not really too ideal because it's not really up 3 days in a row. PBYA has been up at least 3 days, but I guess it technically does have a third green day in here, so it could work, although this one's a bit sketchy. RGBP, this is the only one that I think would be proper for a morning panic bounce play because it's had like three nice, very, very clean daily candles. TSOI could be one too, again, not really perfect. SHMP could be one. This one is probably the least perfect, so that's what I have in mind. We'll see if we have any morning panic bounce play setups today. Okay, it is 9:42. I had two trades. PBYA is working a little too nicely. This one threw me off, but I'm glad to see morning panic bounce plays are doing better. And this was my first attempt at like a level 2 reversal, not really going for like 3 tickers at some kind of a range to risk off of, but a somewhat risk, at 145 give or take, thinking that it could reverse because of level 2 price action, and I was in at 932, which was, I felt like a bit early, but I did get it at 146. It was right in the beginning of this second candle too. I got in at 146, and then my sell was 933, which was this candle right here, and I sold at 149 kind of early. I didn't like how quickly it was spiking. It made me feel like it was going to turn around very quickly, but it kept going. I'm going to start going for VWAP. I can at least go for VWAP. I mean, it got as high as 17.5, which is pretty impressive. Not the most perfect morning panic bounce play on the daily chart, but it still worked, so yeah, that's nice. LTNC was the second one. I got a partial fill. I was trying to get a larger size. I didn't. 934 was my entry at 127, and then I sold at 131, saying, okay, well, I got in such a small position that I'm just gonna close the trade right there. That was 3%. I could have held it a little longer, but again, when I have a position that small, I'd rather just close the trade. PBYA was almost a $600 position, 2%. I was trying to go very large here on LTOC. I had a larger 100,000 share position idea, and I thought in theory maybe I could risk. Where was it? I think it was this level right here at 128, and then when it broke under it, and then it even got below the wick in this candle, that really threw me off, and I thought, alright, this thing isn't trading that nicely, so I ended up not trading it. Maybe if it drops back to the low 12s, and it holds, maybe, because I don't like it right here because it feels like it's mid-range from VWAP in the bottom. That's where I'm at right now. NSAV, I was considering a buy because they had some kind of news, and something I've learned from the breakouts and breakdowns chat room is that when it comes to morning spikes, it helps a lot to risk green to red. So if as long as it's up on the day, it had a little bit of a downtrend, it was red just a little bit, but it ultimately held, and it had this nice spike from this 306 level to 341 is the high. So that's something I just need to keep getting better at. This could be a potential dip towards VWAP setup. I don't like how low VWAP is, but that's what I got for right now. Okay, it is 10:08 a.m. PBYA. I was interested in it for like a dip towards VWAP. It kind of broke under it, and then it kind of threw me off. And then I thought maybe this could be like a head and shoulders, shoulder head, and then it's gonna make a shoulder. That's what it did here. It went from this 164 level. It got as high as 177. Not really too ideal, very choppy price action, but that was something that happened. LTNC, nothing I'm interested in. Sure, it's holding the low of the range here, but it's just, I guess in theory it could try to go past VWAP at some point, maybe in this uptrend right here, but it doesn't really have a nice looking daily chart. NSAV, This thing was kind of quick. The price action was kind of strange, but it did drop. It didn't drop towards VWAP. It went right above it. Right, just strange price action, but in theory that's what I was going for, and it came back like nothing was happening. So that was impressive. RGBP, I was considering it maybe for like a buy for a potential follow-up breakout, but you know, it hasn't worked before. It would have been a small position size, and then when it broke under 45, that really took away my interest. PBYA, I've went over that one. TSOY continues the uptrend. I thought this thing could be a nice dip towards VWAP when it started dropping here, but it just dropped a little bit. So this thing could be a potential follow-up breakout. It's not a setup I'm interested in anymore because I'd be chasing it, but definitely if it drops towards VWAP, especially if it somehow ends up being above the breakout level, that will be a nice setup, I think. But that's what I have for right now. Alright, it is 1:58 p.m. and I've been doing other things, and I just want to see what has happened since. It looks like NSAV finally broke past this level. Let's just take a look and see what happened. Yeah, nice breakout here at 10:30. I clearly missed it. Would I have bought it? Maybe, because they had some kind of news come out. That was a nice move from what, 33 something to 42. That's a lot of range. RGBP also broke out today. That's nice. Did I really miss all of these? TSOI actually did not. This one did downtrend, but it was nice the other day. PBYA is about the same. LTNC looks boring. I'll remove this one, but it wasn't that bad in the morning. Very nice breakout with NSAV and RGBP as well. I really don't think I'm going to be interested in trading any of these because it's kind of late. Yeah, but I'll make an update later. I think that's all I had. Really upset that I didn't trade PBYA as well as I could have. Had I sold at VWAP, that would have been fine, but I didn't even do that. So at least I did push myself and get executed in the turnaround. My entry at 146, but I clearly have a lot of things to get better at. Next time I'll try to hold towards VWAP, and if it breaks under my risk level, that's too bad. That's all I got for right now. Alright, it is 11:14 and I'm here to call it off. I've had a lot of things to do, but I'm back. I made a very tiny and just not really my best. I made $12.36 today. No problems here with LTNC. You know, that would have been nice, but I didn't get executed. I was going for 40,000 shares. I had a very small a tiny position, right? Failed. Just 911 shares were failed, and that was a $11 position. That's probably perhaps the smallest position I've ever traded ever. It was a partial fail. You know, at least I got in the trade to participate, even if it was just such a tiny amount, 3% gain. But I'm really upset with PBYA because, you know, even though I did push myself today to at least trade a level 2 reversal and not really wait for 3 tickers, you know, to form a range to risk off of, this thing got as high as 183. I mean, 18.3. I'm in at 14.6. That is pathetic. I could have sold at VWAP at least at 15.3. What I should have done is, because this thing just kept very nice, very clean, you know, just a very nice and clean uptrend, right? I should have waited for a top to form. Had I have waited for this top to form at 172, and then it bounces back and forth, and maybe I even sell here at 16.2, that would be fine, because at least I wait for a top to form and then it bounced back and forth. Or, you know, I could have sold right at VWAP breaking out, which would have been fine as well. I didn't do any of that. I sold at 149. That is pathetic. And the thing got as high as it did. I'm going to keep pushing myself because I know I shouldn't take these things for granted. Like last week, there was just no real nice morning panic bounce plays, and the ones that were there, I was still adjusting to the idea of trading a level 2 reversal. So I need to really get on that. I can't do that mistake anymore, and that was, I consider, a great entry, great trade, but a very crappy sell, and that was completely my fault. I need to get better at that. Again, had I have sold at VWAP breaking out, You know, that would have been fine if I sold 154. Oh shucks, they got the 183, but you know, I'll keep pushing myself and I'll try to wait for a top to form. If it looks as nice as it did here, okay, fine, but I literally didn't even do that, so I have a lot of room for improvement. Could have traded larger too. Again, LTNC, I missed out, just a tiny position. It didn't really bounce that nicely either. I don't know when I would have sold, because you know, when I saw that I had a tiny position, I was no longer thinking about the setup. I was just thinking about, okay, I'm in very small, like too small. Maybe if it was like a $300 position instead of my, you know, initial position size, okay, that's fine. But that wasn't the case, so I'm not too sure when I would have sold. But I could have went for the inverse head and shoulders. It's hard to see it now, but I wanted that, but I was too slow. It spiked nicely. That one would have had a risk level at 124, I believe. RGBP. It did have this panic later in the day. I don't think I would have traded it because it wasn't like a nice clean V looking panic. This was something else. TSOI. Now this qualifies for a morning panic bounce plays. RGBP as well. I look forward to these. NSAV did that nice breakout over this range. I just wasn't there for that one. And it did do a morning spike. I've learned from that breakouts and breakdowns chat room, when it comes to morning spikes, to just risk green to red. Even though it did dip red just a little bit, it wasn't really that, you know, serious. That could help me greatly get into morning spike setup. So I'm thankful for that. Clearly a lot of room for improvement. Very disappointing gain. At least my entry was nice, but I have a lot of room for improvement. I hope I can try to do better from this point forward. That's all I got.